It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Brian Skian, who's the Vice Chair for Education and Director of the Child and Adolescent Fellowship Training Program, who will introduce today's speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Rothschild. It is my pleasure to introduce one of our own, Dr. Lily Millen, as she gives her grand rounds today. Dr. Millen is currently in her final year of training as a Child and Adolescent Fellow here, where she completed the Integrated Adult and Child Training Program and serves as the Academic Chief of the Fellowship Program. She completed her residency here and is board certified in psychiatry for adult services, and looking forward to getting that second board certification this fall. Dr. Millen earned her Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine degree from the University of New England, holds a Bachelor of Arts in English and Medical Anthropology from the University of Pennsylvania, and has pursued additional studies at Columbia University and Kathmandu University. She has published extensively on various psychiatric topics through the Massachusetts Psychiatric Society, where she served as a resident representative. Her work includes discussions on drug affordability, community grief, and the integration of artificial intelligence in healthcare. She has held several leadership roles throughout her training, including Chief of Women's Mental Health during her residency and as a resident fellow member and counselor of the Massachusetts Psychiatric Society. She has taken on an interest in leadership development and is enrolled in the UMass Chan Leadership Coaching Program and has developed a strong interest, which leads to her title today, The Business of Medicine: Should We Train Tomorrow's Doctors to Be Leaders Today? Welcome, Dr. Millen.
Great. So, again, today's Grand Rounds title is The Business of Medicine: Should We Train Tomorrow's Doctors to Be Leaders Today? Just to clarify, I have no actual or potential conflict of interest in relation to this program or presentation. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Sorry.
No worries. Oh. So imagine it's 2 a.m. Your first night on call, alone during residency. The pager erupts and your heart races. Chaos ensues. A patient in the emergency mental health unit flipped a refrigerator. 10 others wait evaluation. A nurse urgently needs medication clarification. And a distraught family member demands answers on the inpatient unit. At that moment, standing alone, overwhelmed, I realized I wasn't just responsible for my patient's safety. I was leading my team through the storm. I took a deep breath, prioritized, delegated, acted, and by morning, the crises had passed, but the lesson stayed, revealing an uncomfortable truth. Leadership in medicine isn't instinctive. It's forged in uncertainty. These moments demand preparation and training, yet we seldom focus on leadership during medical education, even though, ironically, the word doctor stems from Latin, meaning both leader and teacher. Today, we'll cover defining clinical leadership, explore why leadership development is crucial in medical training, review evidence supporting leadership training, address implementation challenges and propose solutions, and introduce a 4-year leadership framework in psychiatry residency. So, what does leadership really mean? Leadership is both multifaceted and personal. Ask 10 people to define leadership, and you'll get 10 different answers. This uncertainty makes many physicians uneasy. We train to seek clarity, but leadership isn't a formula. There's no standardized exam to measure it or a single discipline that provides the right answer. It requires thoughtful reflection and a personalized approach. It's an evolving skill shaped by experience. Consider a leader you admire. What makes them stand out? What impresses me most about leadership is that the answers to these questions will vary for each individual because leadership is personal and shaped by context and experience. In an age of AI tools like ChatGPT, having a unique perspective can set you apart. For me, leadership means creating a better future, inspiring meaningful change, and making a positive impact, whether big or small. Dr. Linda Ginzel, a clinical professor of managerial psychology at the University of Chicago School of Business, calls this leadership capital, a powerful blend of courage, capacity, and wisdom that defines effective leaders. Courage is inspiring others toward a shared goal while learning from both successes and failures. Capacity is mastering knowledge, skills, and insight to drive change. And wisdom is knowing when to lead, when to manage, and when to step back. Leadership is not about titles. It's about intentional actions that inspire others to work toward the greater good. Effective leadership is a balancing act. It requires knowing when to follow. So I think of as learners, we observe, we absorb, we support others. When to manage. So think of residency. We coordinate teams, ensure efficiency. And then there's leading. We envision a better future and motivate others to achieve it. I like to think about leadership at two levels. Leadership can be transformative, or big L leadership, but it can also consist of small daily actions, or small L leadership. The best leaders don't just lead, they know when to follow, when to manage, and when to step up as visionaries. Then what is clinical leadership? Clinical leadership is crucial for the effectiveness of healthcare teams. A clip from the show Scrubs, a sitcom that entertains and immerses us in the hectic yet rewarding world of medical students and doctors at the fictional Sacred Heart Teaching Hospital, illustrates the chaos of medical training while highlighting the importance of leadership skills.
Check out my man getting his leadership on. First, he hits him with a little preparation.
Are there any more questions about evolving treatment therapies?
Next, inspiration.
Now, I just want you to know you guys all have the potential to be amazing doctors.
And finally, a dose of fear.
Okay, I'll see you guys.
Okay, fear might need a little work.
While we often learn through the approach of see one, do one, teach one, this method doesn't necessarily apply to leadership. We rarely focus explicitly on leadership principles. To lead effectively in healthcare, we must define and embrace clinical leadership. It involves empowering teams and fostering collaboration rather than relying solely on hierarchy.
Check out my man getting his leadership.
We're going to go to the next slide. Effective clinical leadership combines the collective skills of the team to achieve their goals, harnessing team strengths to achieve outcomes, encouraging communication and collaboration, setting direction and delegating tasks, and acting with purpose and knowing when to follow. It's about creating a culture of trust, teamwork, and shared accountability. Why invest in leadership training for residents? To start, healthcare is evolving rapidly. Physician leaders are needed to address systematic changes, and residency offers a formative period to develop these essential skills. So what does leadership development look like? Leadership is not just an innate trait. It is a skill that can be developed over time. They say that 70% is real-world experience, so learning by doing, 20% is feedback and coaching, so gaining insights from others. And 10% is from formal education, structured learning environments. It should be intentionally cultivated, especially during residency when responsibilities increase. If we recognize that it's essential for delivering excellent patient care and fostering team dynamics, then why not integrate structured leadership training into residency and fellowships early on? Residents juggle clinical duties, education, research, and patient care, often without any leadership training. Yet they're de facto leaders in every shift, mentoring junior trainees, leading discussions, and managing patient care. As frontline leaders, residents operate at a critical intersection of patient care, where effective leadership is essential. Despite their significant responsibilities, formal opportunities for learning leadership skills are often unstructured, inconsistent, and highly variable. By developing leadership competencies early on, residents and fellows are better prepared to excel in these roles. This, in turn, promotes high-quality patient care, enhances team dynamics, and builds personal resilience. Leadership competencies are essential in medical training, but often don't receive the attention they deserve. For instance, only 2 of the 6 ACGME core competencies in residency training specifically include leadership skills, professionalism, and interpersonal and communication skills. Other frameworks are beginning to emphasize leadership more significantly. In Canada, for example, the Physician Competency Network has renamed manager to leader to highlight the importance of leadership in patient care. Similarly, in the UK, the National Health Service, or NHS, developed the Medical Leadership Competency Framework, which focuses on promoting leadership engagement. These frameworks, while not perfect, highlight the necessity of leadership training to meet professional standards and prepare physicians for the challenges of modern healthcare. The healthcare landscape requires strong leadership to tackle challenges such as team-based care in multidisciplinary settings, burnout and emotional exhaustion, patient-centered care tailored to individual needs, and leadership training empowers physicians to enhance teamwork and communication, foster resilience, and drive innovation in care delivery. To maximize our investment in leadership training, we should dive into real-world examples and explore the evidence they provide. Effective leadership by frontline physicians and nurses significantly enhances patient outcomes, patient and provider satisfaction, team efficiency, and these enhancements encompass a broad spectrum of clinical environments and communities. Team-based leadership is essential for clinical outcomes, as patient care relies on small group of frontline physicians. The quality of leadership within these teams, so attendings, residents, fellows, nursing, et cetera, impacts how effectively they're organized, motivated, and managed. Leadership at this level aims to enrich the quality and efficiency of core clinical work. Leadership training isn't just a privilege, it's essential. It equips us with the skills to navigate complexity, enhance teamwork, and improve patient outcomes. Strong leadership isn't optional. It's the backbone of an efficient, compassionate, and effective healthcare system. In 2010, Dorgan and colleagues examined 1,200 hospitals across multiple countries and confirmed that enhanced management practices lead to higher patient satisfaction and better financial outcomes. In 2015, Tsai and others analyzed data from hospitals in the US and UK to investigate the impact of hospital boards and frontline management practices, linking effective management to improve clinical outcomes. And in 2013, Shanafelt and colleagues surveyed 2,813 physicians and found that strong leadership helps reduce burnout and increases job satisfaction. Leadership gaps in healthcare result in several things. These include skill deficiencies, breaches in teamwork and cost efficiency, exposure to cultural barriers, and increasing practical burdens. Frontline physician leadership gaps have been identified across various organizational and geographic settings. Studies of primary care and surgical residents indicate deficiencies in essential leadership competencies, including communication, team building, strategic planning, negotiation, and understanding of healthcare systems. Healthcare reforms, such as accountable care organizations or ACOs, demand physician leaders who can foster teamwork, promote patient-centered care, and ensure cost efficiency. However, the lack of structured leadership training limits physicians' ability to meet these challenges, undermining healthcare quality and equity. Structured training programs, including mentorship, system-based projects, and curricula on healthcare system science, are essential to bridge these gaps. Cultural resistance to leadership training is another contributing factor to the widening gap between healthcare and healthcare leadership. This resistance arises from strong emphasis during medical training on autonomy and the belief that managerial roles may conflict with patient care. Additionally, there's a reluctance to engage with leadership studies that emphasize qualitative outcomes. Lastly, there are practical challenges that naturally widen the gap. These include busy residency and faculty schedules, limited faculty, and skepticism about the value of leadership skills compared to clinical expertise, which have widened the gap further. So, how can we close this gap and address some of these challenges? The inconsistency in leadership training across residency programs means many trainees enter the workforce without essential leadership skills. This gap has real consequences for team dynamics, patient care, and physician burnout. Some programs offer valuable opportunities, while others provide little or none, leaving trainees without essential skills in today's healthcare environments. Some studies suggest that leadership training may reduce burnout and enhance emotional intelligence, which is vital for physician resilience, though further research is needed. Additionally, while research shows that leadership training can improve decision-making, teamwork, and clinical outcomes, high-quality evidence specifically pertaining to residency programs is limited. For example, some of the more robust systematic reviews findings by Strauss and colleagues in 2013 and Frick and colleagues in 2015 didn't take into account the specific needs in North American residents and fellows, making them less applicable. Additionally, Sadowski and colleagues in 2018 found that existing GME leadership programs are inconsistent, and they often fail to meet their objectives. Meanwhile, Kumar and others in 2020 highlighted the lack of comprehensive evaluations of leadership training programs, stressing the need for improvements. More high-quality studies are necessary to assess the long-term effects of leadership training in GME and to help standardize and enhance programs that develop future physician leaders. A powerful way to close the gap is by drawing from diverse range of disciplines and effective leadership development practices. This cross-pollination of ideas can unlock new pathways to success in leadership. Contrary to the belief that leadership is an inherent trait, research indicates that it can be cultivated through structured approaches like mentoring, coaching, and project-based learning. The U.S. Army emphasizes leadership development at all levels. Programs at West Point have shown an ability to enhance creative thinking and problem-solving skills within diverse teams, underscoring the value of structured leadership frameworks. Studies of multinational corporations suggest that leadership effectiveness improves when individuals actively pursue self-improvement and engage with their peers. These findings reinforce the significance of a growth mindset and collaborative learning and leadership training. Organizations like Kaiser Permanente, the NHS, IBM, prioritize leadership development to address complex healthcare challenges. Their programs demonstrate the tangible benefits of investing in leadership training, including improved team coordination and patient care outcomes. These interdisciplinary examples illustrate transferable strategies. Integrating structured, evidence-based leadership training into residency programs can fill existing gaps while preparing residents for the complexities of modern healthcare. The American healthcare system is experiencing rapid changes because of technological advancements, financial restructuring, and evolving societal standards. I'm going to move my mouse. These dynamics have broadened physicians' roles, making leadership training vital for navigating the changing landscape. What is the current state of graduate medical education, and why should we pay attention to it? Understanding this landscape is crucial for aspiring medical professionals, educators, and policymakers alike. Currently, more than half of allopathic medical schools indicate they offer leadership curricula, yet only a tiny number require them. Information on leadership programs in osteopathic schools is even more scarce. Residency and fellowship programs frequently lack formal structured leadership training, including in psychiatry. And even when programs try to highlight leadership, they often zoom in on management roles, overlooking the broader skills essential for everyday practice. Even when leadership training is introduced, implementation remains a challenge. So what are the main barriers? Constrained resources, faculty availability, and packed curriculum. Programs must reconcile clinical education with the advancement of non-clinical skills, a considerable obstacle. Moreover, the inconsistency in program quality highlights the necessity for well-defined, evidence-based guidelines to improve training effectiveness. So, while ACGME's new Healthcare Administration Leadership and Management, or HALM Fellowship, are valuable, they often delay essential leadership training that should start much earlier, during residency. Skills such as team management, effective communication, and quality improvement, or QI as we know it, are vital to clinical practice and should be developed progressively throughout residency. Why start leadership training in residency? Leadership skills are crucial for all physicians, not just those pursuing administrative careers. Incorporating leadership training into residency allows foundational skills to be cultivated early on, preparing residents to undertake leadership roles in clinical settings and beyond. These kinds of fellowships should complement residency-based leadership education rather than replace it, ensuring that all trainees benefit from leadership development. To address these gaps, we must embed leadership training into residency curricula, develop clear standards for program quality, and balance clinical and non-clinical training to prepare future physicians for leadership roles. Leadership training for psychiatry residents must be customized to meet their unique challenges. It should incorporate insights from healthcare and other sectors to shape the program's design. Learning from successful models, such as those at Vanderbilt, Mayo Clinic, the U.S. Army, West Point, and others, can offer valuable guidance in areas where buy-in for trainees and faculty is critical and effective. Essential training program elements include mentoring, real-life simulations, clinical experiences, structured feedback, and opportunities for ongoing growth. Leadership training must be woven in throughout the residency to facilitate skill development. Moreover, regular assessment should be conducted to track progress and guide development plans. Leadership development and residency programs present several challenges, but established frameworks can help facilitate effective interventions. The Harvard Business School Authentic Leadership Development Program. This model emphasizes reflection and peer feedback to enhance self-awareness and leadership identity. This model fosters trust and vulnerability within teams, promoting genuine connections. It encourages practices such as reflective journaling, peer discussions, and feedback loops to support personal and professional growth. The Center for Creative Leadership's Access, Challenge, and Support model combines regular assessments, structured challenges, and ongoing support to cultivate resilience and skill development. Simulations, mentorship, and targeted assessments reinforce essential leadership competencies. A 2010 review by McGonigal and colleagues of principles and patterns of leadership development and best practices in the U.S. identified 9 best practices in leadership development. Effective programs incorporate reflective practices, real-world applications, and longitudinal learning. Tailoring leadership training to focus on quality, safety, interprofessional teamwork, and system-based care addresses specific, impactful practices within GME. There's also a case for interdisciplinary leadership training. Specifically, healthcare is inherently team-based, necessitating leaders who can effectively navigate diverse specialties. Current training programs often lack cross-disciplinary education, which leads to silos in patient care. Developing multi-specialty curricula emphasizes shared goals such as quality improvement and patient-centered care. It also fosters interprofessional collaboration through shared projects and interactive simulations. This approach can potentially cultivate a culture of mutual respect and shared accountability among healthcare professionals. So, to address these gaps, I propose a structured 4-year leadership curriculum designed to integrate leadership development throughout residency. Leadership in residency often exists within a hidden curriculum, observed but rarely taught explicitly. While informal leadership development occurs, structured training is often lacking. Through clinical training experiences, mentorship, QI, local advocacy, and my current participation in the UMass Leadership Coaching Program, I've had the chance to reflect on how residency programs can intentionally cultivate leadership skills. Year 1 of residency requires rapid adaptation to evolving responsibilities, team dynamics, and emotional demands. This curriculum explicitly integrates leadership development, equipping residents with self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and communication skills to strengthen relationships, enhance well-being, and promote professional growth. Some programs have successfully integrated leadership training by looking beyond medicine. For example, Vanderbilt applied naval and ROTC concepts to engage residents in structured education. Inspired by this approach, this curriculum adopts the military's Be No Do framework. So B, or character, consists of developing integrity, accountability, and resilience. Know, or knowledge, involves understanding team dynamics, conflict resolution, and communication. And do, or action, encourages application of leadership in clinical practice, team collaboration, and mentorship. So to bridge the gap between this implicit and explicit leadership training, this program integrates leadership development into clinical practice through interactive workshops, reflective journaling, and case-based discussions. Through this, residents engage in structured self-assessment and real-world application, such as navigating team conflicts and leading debriefs on challenging cases. By making leadership education a core component of residency, this curriculum empowers residents to become thoughtful, self-aware, and effective leaders, fostering a culture of leadership that extends beyond training into their careers. Year 2 will focus on developing interpersonal literacy and teamwork through mentorship, peer-led initiatives, and structured feedback. Activities will include coaching, conflict resolution, feedback delivery, and simulations of interprofessional collaboration. The curriculum will feature small-scale projects like QI or wellness initiatives. It will also incorporate wellness practices, where physicians will not only learn about burnout and potentially receive local and institutional-based resources, but it will also be actively guided through techniques that they can apply personally and share with others. This will include team building and communication exercises and activities that address health principles related to nutrition, sleep, exercise, as well as mindfulness and meditation. Regular feedback sessions will evaluate strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities for growth. Simulating real-life scenarios is also crucial, and programs can utilize technology to innovate in this area. For instance, UMass's established SimLab, simulation-based medical education, usually applied for our BLS or ACLS training, the one time of year that we use it, can be adapted to create videos or other simulated scenarios and depict real-life interdisciplinary situations. The curriculum will also include checklists and debriefings aimed at enhancing safety and quality in psychiatric care. Despite improvements in healthcare outcomes, these tools are often underutilized in psychiatry. Enhanced informal discussions initiated by faculty and trainees after challenging cases could also enable structured debriefings, fostered reflection, continuous learning, and ultimately improved patient care. Don't worry, there's only 4 years. So this is year 3. And in year 3, we take leadership to the next level, learning to lead in adversity. Various leadership programs inspire the curriculum and highlight the importance of what's known as crucible experiences. These are high-stakes situations that test decision-making, emotional resilience, and adaptability. Think leadership lessons from 2 a.m. that I highlighted when we began today. Leadership theory indicates that growth emerges from adversity as individuals tackle complex problems and manage uncertainty. These experiences can present simulated scenarios involving ethical dilemmas, resource constraints, and team conflicts, fostering reflection and skill development under pressure. Residents will also work on projects addressing care transitions, equity, and safety, applying lessons to real-world challenges. Supplemental didactic sessions on healthcare systems and QI will equip residents with tools to analyze and enhance systems effectively. The final year of training equips residents for leadership roles in healthcare through advanced training and practical application. Building on prior leadership development, this phase offers comprehensive preparation for challenges beyond traditional chief roles. The curriculum includes capstone evaluations with institutional leaders, workshops, and retreats focusing on resilience, self-reflection, and adaptive leadership. Core activities feature capstone projects addressing systemic and clinical issues, dyad shadowing with physician executives for leadership insights, and workshops on critical skills like public speaking and strategic planning. This approach ensures residents navigate complex systems, inspire teams, and drive meaningful change. So how can we prioritize leadership development during our training? Leadership training is crucial for driving clinical excellence and addressing the challenges faced in modern healthcare. It aligns with ACGME competencies and improves healthcare's systems, quality of care, communication, and navigation. Leadership training isn't just about titles or administration. It's about improving patient care, building resilient teams, and shaping the future of medicine. The ACGME should consider explicitly including leadership training as a primary objective in residency curricula. But even further, training programs can start acknowledging and rewarding leadership contributions to shift perceptions and emphasize their significance. Not only will studying successful programs be necessary to identify effective strategies, but experimenting with and evaluating new methods for teaching leadership will be essential to improving outcomes. To transform our curriculum development ideas into actionable steps, it's essential to integrate leadership training into existing residency schedules. This integration must ensure that residents can participate in training without it interfering with their clinical responsibilities. Utilizing technology, simulations, and interprofessional learning environments can enhance engagement and offer practical hands-on experiences. Additionally, faculty development is crucial. It empowers educators to model effective leadership and successfully mentor residents. Incorporating reflective practices and regular feedback will continuously refine the program, promoting growth and adaptability. And together, these strategies will equip residents with the skills and confidence necessary to lead. By overcoming leadership training barriers, we empower residents to lead with confidence, shape the future of medicine, and leave a lasting impact. Leadership is defined not by age, title, or hierarchy, but by courage, action, and small intentional steps that lead to meaningful change. Clinical leadership fosters collaboration. It drives progress through self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and the ability to navigate complex systems. Patient-centered care and community-focused healthcare integration are essential components of effective leadership. Cultivating leadership skills during medical training is crucial. It prepares physicians to excel in dual roles, enhance patient care, and strengthens teamwork. Evidence shows that leadership development improves patient outcomes, team efficiency, and provider satisfaction. Established frameworks emphasize the importance of reflection, resilience, and practical application. Despite challenges such as limited resources, curriculum overload, and variable program quality, solutions can be found by integrating leadership training into residency schedules, utilizing technology, supporting faculty development, and adopting a comprehensive approach, like a 4-year psychiatry leadership framework. By addressing these barriers, we empower residents to drive innovation, enhance care, and influence the future of healthcare. We motivate them to act with purpose and make a lasting impact. As part of, leadership development is also a multi-billion-dollar industry, which means there are abundant resources available and people will sell you anything you're willing to buy. However, it's important to note that the quality of these resources can vary significantly, as many people, again, will sell you anything you're willing to buy. I believe that the most effective starting point will be resources that are readily available and easily accessible. Small group work can be critical for understanding yourself, your peers, and colleagues, and effectively navigating challenges. Activities like case conferences, interdisciplinary case evaluations, resident and faculty retreats, local and national organizations for peer leadership, like the Young Presidents Organization, or leadership coaching programs like at UMass can be incredible resources. Think of people you admire, including leaders in business and healthcare. Inevitably, someone has either an autobiography or a biography, which is a great place to offer incredible insights into their lived experience and navigating the challenges of leadership and management. Start reflecting. Start reflecting on your life by journaling and writing your story down. Barack Obama wrote his first autobiography at 34, which is wild to think about, but maybe it's not. We learn and we grow from reflection, and this also helps us set goals for the future. Learn from experience, and don't just limit this to self-reflection. Seek out your attendings, colleagues, and others to give you feedback so you can continue to develop and grow. During your training, take the time to collaborate with the leadership and administrators at various levels within your institution and across different systems of care. This year, I had the opportunity to create my own elective focused on leadership and healthcare administration. I dedicated 2 half-days each week for 4 months to work directly with the medical director of an inpatient psychiatric unit. Others have also pursued similar electives, rotating through different healthcare administrative and leadership roles. You can customize your elective time to align with your specific training needs, at least at UMass. As part of that elective time, I incorporated 2 leadership training courses to supplement my clinical experience. The first is the UMass Department Psychiatry Leadership Coaching Program. Dr. Boris Lorberg, Dr. Carrie Wilkins, and Barbara Grimes-Smith organize and facilitate this program. This peer coaching group supports faculty, staff, and trainees in developing or enhancing emotional intelligence, including core principles of communication, relationship management principles, leadership, and professionalism. It involves a Zoom group meeting once a month for 8 total sessions. And it's free and open to psychiatry trainees at UMass. The other training course that I enrolled in was the Business of Medicine course. This was developed in 2019 by Dr. Ashley Nassiri. Well, she was actually an ENT surgery resident at Vanderbilt, in collaboration with Dr. Matthew Carlson, an ENT surgeon at Mayo Clinic, and Dr. David S. Haynes, who is a professor, ENT division chief, and fellowship director at Vanderbilt. It's a free course, and the goal is to empower physicians of any specialty in patient, self, and systemic advocacy and leadership, looking to supplement their medical training with healthcare-specific business knowledge. It has 3 domains: leadership, healthcare delivery, and practice management. And the curriculum includes podcasts, readings, and self-paced reflective worksheets, serving as a foundation for real-world application. There's also many universities that offer things like MBAs, MPHs, MHA degrees. for virtual or hybrid working professionals, but they're typically more focused and, of course, costly. The next 3 slides will include web, podcast, and text resources on leadership, healthcare delivery, and healthcare practice management. The resources were discussed or recommended in my training courses this year. I'm happy to share these slides and resources with anyone afterwards if you're interested. So feel free to reach out directly via the chat today or by email, which I included on the last slide of the slideshow. I'd like to express my gratitude to my mentors, colleagues, and friends who supported me throughout my training. And I welcome your thoughts, questions, and feedback from today.
We got some online questions. First, a comment from Dr. Banerjee. Thanks for the fantastic presentation. A few of us residents have done an administrative leadership month-long selective during PGY2, and they presented at the academic psychiatry meeting regarding the development of a track. Would love to collaborate on this.
Yeah, love that.
Then he has a question. How can, if possible, residents and now attending unions, CMGB Salem, help facilitate leadership and advocacy skills among early career physicians?
So is that early career psychiatrists?
Well, he said physicians, but you can do it, answer it any way you like.
That's a great question. I think residents and early career physicians are in such an excellent place to mentor and collaborate with young physicians. I mean, the idea of unionizing in these different hospitals is pretty fascinating as well. It's bringing a huge group together, like a lot of people, to unionize, and that takes a ton of organization and leadership skills. So I think it's a great starting point for sort of weaving in those skills that you already have into potentially like a program or a more kind of generalized approach for leadership training in residency and fellowship. I don't have like the exact answer. I think it's a great question though.
I'll ask a question. If the residents or the attendings are forming unions, is that an indication of a failure of leadership at that institution at the top?
I don't think it's an indication of failure. I think that there is definitely a need for physicians to feel heard. And maybe there's a way that they can collaborate with the institution. I think that's the purpose of unions, is to try to collaborate and give physicians a more unionized or unified voice so they can communicate their needs.
I would disagree. I think some of the family practice unions that are forming over at MG, Mass General Brigham, they're forming because the physicians don't feel heard.
I think that's kind of what I said.
Well, I mean, I guess you were saying if they form a union, they'd be heard better, which I would agree with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, that's my leadership training.
But yeah, but if you talk to family practice doctors who are forming this union, they feel they aren't being heard. I mean, that's often why unions form.
It is. And I think that, I mean, they clearly didn't feel heard there. I think it doesn't mean that the system's by any means a failure. I think that's an extreme to jump to. I think that there's just negotiating that needs to happen. And it's a tall order for every single physician to walk into a room and say exactly what they need. So I think the union serves a purpose to sort of unify the voice of physicians especially at like a sprawling institution like MGH, which has its fingertips and like all over the state. I think, it's almost like you need that group to to have one voice for
Yeah,
physicians.
I would agree with that, definitely.
Lily, thanks for a great presentation.
Thank you.
On a thoughtful topic, but wouldn't expect less from you. So my question is about the suggestion to have leadership as part of the core residency curriculum versus an elective, and even going further and beyond that, this thought that it should be part of medical school curriculum. So I just sort of am trying to think, and I think this is more of a question also for our training directors here. How do you go about choosing what has to be part of a core curriculum and what is an enrichment or an elective? Is this really something that 100% of residents are interested in?
Mhm.
So that's the question part. And then the comment part is that there are actually additional leadership training opportunities, at least in child and adolescent psychiatry through ACAP.
Yep.
Especially for women. So the Women in Child Psychiatry Committee of ACAP has a whole bunch of things that happen during the annual meeting, but there also are mentorship initiatives and groups that have curriculum embedded in them that meet sort of virtually monthly. So there have been a lot of efforts to offer this, and I'm never certain that it is actually something that everybody would like to see as part of the curriculum. So I want to hear your thoughts on
Yeah.
that, but also then hear our training directors on that.
I feel like that's where the buy-in comes in to convince residents and fellows that it's not one more thing for them to do. I feel like that's always the thing I hear most. And I've complained about it. But it's like, oh, we have one more, class or lecture or something that we need to do, and, sit there and sort of listen and take in that, educational time. And I feel like one way to potentially incorporate that leadership training in is to make things more of an activity, where you're sort of, engaging the residents and I guess, like a fun sort of collaborative group activity or game or something, kind of like, I know Dr. Raj does like a bunch of like icebreakers and things to start. But I feel like these more interactive approaches where you're not just sitting and learning, you're actively doing something, engaging with your peers and learning, can make it a little more approachable for residents and fellows who are already like burned out and exhausted.
But the way that I learn best when it's things like that seem to be extra is that if you have, it's just like learning about patient care, right? Like there is the learning that you have to do that is the curriculum, and it's going to be in the board tests or the prior or whatever. And then there is you're treating a patient and you just need to learn something so that you can be effective. And there is nothing more motivating than that. It's sort of similar in leadership skills, right? So you sort of have to feel like you're missing something and you're looking for it, and then go and find that resource. So I'm not sure how we could do that. So
Well, I think that's also like the SimLab suggestion, and using technology can be actually a really interesting avenue. Something we actually don't use at all, really. But you can create real life experiences and navigate that as like a team. And I feel like there's other avenues that are similar with like virtual reality or these simulations that, we could explore to create that sort of clinical experience overlapping with leadership and make it more real.
Can you unmute Dr. DeGrush? Is that possible to do? She's put her camera on there. Beth, you want to try talking? It looks muted on my screen. Oh, unmute yourself.
Hey, now I can. I couldn't before. Hi, everybody. I know Dr. Javier and everybody were asking from the training office perspective, so I can speak to that quickly. You know, I was thinking about this, Lily, and thank you. This is an awesome presentation, and our training office really values leadership and leadership skills. And I think we do it in this hidden curriculum idea, starting off when you're on call and you might have a buddy call with a junior, and that already you have to be, you know, kind of leading the show and giving guidance even when you have no idea what to do. And that sounds like a classic night on call that you shared with us earlier. And then I was thinking about how we have other ways that we do this in the didactics. We have lectures on managing up, down, and across, which is learning how to manage your bosses, which is really important. And other lectures on imposter syndrome and perhaps the invalidity of that whole idea. So we weave this in, but I would love to make this even more formalized. So thank you for this. And I think the opportunity for these electives are really awesome for the people who are a little bit more oriented in that way to climbing the ladder, rather than maybe the people who are excited to get out there and hang their shingle, as they say, you know, kind of work as a lone ranger. But we do love this idea and this topic, and thank you for sharing this really nice formalized process with us.
Thanks.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, I'll just say as well, I think you touched on a lot of the ways that we offer elective experiences and opportunities for folks, but that obviously requires some two-way engagement. And I love the idea of kind of being more intentional about it. You know, aligned with what Dr. DeGrush was saying, there's been a lot of implied opportunities here. For instance, you know, the days of having a single chief resident in a program have been gone for some time here, particularly at UMass, where every senior resident has some kind of chief or administrative duties. And we're not necessarily explicit and intentional about what the goals behind those things are, but you all do develop into leaders in your own way, whether that be a clinic or things like that. And so I love the idea of being more intentional and explicit about that, and coming up with some of these scenarios to engage folks. And I, for one, would love to kind of get a copy of your slides so that we can think about those curriculums for some other workshops and retreats. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much.